Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. We're in a little bit of a conundrum here. That's English for, or Beth speak for, chaos. I am really, really struggling with this journal. I have come to the conclusion that I'm okay with my own style. I wish it looked better, but it is what it is. And Curtie, you're not allowed to talk to the chickens. You're not allowed to talk to anybody else about this. And you're not allowed to scream at the camera. I might go into a pocket journal. Pocket pages. I know. And I'm joking with her. She knows that. Every time I try to do that, I screw it up. I am very intimidated by pocket pages. Don't know why. It just happens. But I've already started testing the waters. Now, when I do this, the book is going to be too big. I got this at the beach last winter. I don't know what brand it is. It is a cardboard, really heavy cardboard journal. And it might be the, what's this brand? A brain. What do you call this brand? Snapfit? Oh, here, Simply Stories. It might be a Simply Stories. These page protectors fit in here perfectly, which actually, no, they don't. The holes are in the wrong place. So it's not a Simple Stories. It might still be. Or Snapfit. I can't remember. Anyhow, this is going to be a short video because I really am not going to work today. This is going to have to be reconfigured. I can do that. And all of my pages, I think I'm going to, what do you call that thing? The hot gun that conceal it, and then I'll cut off the excess. But I've got my reason why in here. I've got my table of contents, which I'm going to work on. Now, these pages are going to be problematic, and I'm okay to have some outside the page protector. What I might do is just take some of these margins and use these, or maybe, yeah, I don't know. I might have to reconfigure these. I don't know. But, so right now they're just sitting in here loose. I have my page for Wednesday. Oh, great. This says Tuesday. So I guess this goes. Okay, that's the water puppets. Okay, that goes like that. All right, this is the museum. I reprinted. I had this, and then it was too big, so I reprinted it again. This is Confucius, modeled after the temple to Confucius in China, built in 1070. 6 years later, the university was established here, mainly for sons of royalty. A country that has lost so much to war is remarkable that what has survived. And some of the tombs were encased in cement to guard against bombings during the Vietnam War. So I like that. I have a filler here. I have Vietnam in color, which I talked about, but I never used it yesterday. That gray is water buffalo. This brown is statuary. This is water puppet water. Halong Bay blue. Shrine red. School walls mustard yellow. And scooter tires another color of gray. And then I have a Ali Edwards back page here. Piece of paper. And not all of the pages will be in Page Protector, but I do have some set up in here. What was happening was it was getting dirty. My hands had ink on them at various different times. It was getting dirty. I do like these like Ali Edwards journals. This isn't one, but where it has the rings on this side. So when you close it, it doesn't kind of gobbledygook it all up. That's technical terms too. Now, this might be thicker. I'm okay if they end up like that. And that might be what happens here, but that's okay. So, this day was Thursday, which I have not printed out yet. And Was it Thursday or Friday? Oh, gosh. Yeah, Wednesday. So Thursday, I have those done, but I haven't printed them yet. But this is a map of Vietnam, which is a great map. Ho Chi Minh City, used to be Saigon, is down here. This, I read someplace that this is like the length of California, but it's a little bit longer, I think. It might be. I'm just used to traveling from like the San Francisco area to LA, and that's about a 7-hour drive. So this actually might be. This is where we were. Hanoi is way up here. So to do this, we were going to have to fly or take a train. And it seems like to me, Quinn said at some point, it takes 42 hours for the train to get down here. Because as you see, that's not a straight line. That is a curve. So it adds more time. Plus, I don't think the infrastructure is that great. So and we ended up staying above Hanoi. Hanoi is here, which is the capital. Sapa is up here, which we were right across the border from China at the town we ate lunch in. And then we backtracked a little bit to get up to the road to go to the mountains. And Hulong Bay is over here. So we stayed right there. And it was even hotter down here. So it was kind of like a blessing in disguise. We didn't go that far. Oh, there's typhoons, Kurti, in the South Pacific, which are causing, what do you call it? Tidal waves. So just thinking about your people if they're in that area. Now, okay, so I think I might have this as a kind of like a filler. And then I want to put the map in that we traveled up to Hulong Bay. And when I do that, I'm going to talk about cinnamon. Saigon. It's called Saigon cinnamon, from what I read. And here's some more about Saigon cinnamon. We saw the trees that the cinnamon grows in, which I had no idea that's how it grew. We saw lacquer trees, which I did not know. That was a sap, kind of like subsistence from... Okay, this all happens up there, but not yet. The rice fields. Oh, the rice fields. They were so pretty. So anyhow, I have these two things I want to do. And this is where the tire on the bus broke down. Which, being from the United States, when we heard that long boom, that really sharp boom sound, we all immediately thought we'd been shot, which is really sad, but that's how the United States is at this moment. Oh, here's the bus driver. But a truck, he called somebody, he got off onto an exit, and because it has its dual tires everywhere, I guess, he was able to drive still, and it was the inside tire. So we were able to drive to the nearest exit, got off, which they happened to be some old ladies selling corn on the cob that they roasted. So we all were entertained with that. He had called a truck. The truck came. Long story short, we were in and out of this place in 15 minutes. That never would have happened in the United States, but it does here. It's a practice that I guess... I didn't see a lot of debris on the roads, and there isn't a lot of traffic, especially once we got out of Hanoi, because number one, nobody can afford cars. Number two, you can't drive a scooter up to Sapa. And I think that would be a lot of gas. Now, we did see a lot of people standing on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. And he goes, they're waiting for buses. If you stand on the side of the road, the bus will stop and pick you up. Or a taxi. We saw a lot of people dropped off like that. And we saw a lot of people being picked up like that. Which was really kind of cool. Different for... Okay, that needs to be reconfigured too. Unless... I'm going to have to cut off this, which is fine. I was looking in my map books, which I have a lot of, but actually this one is just as nice as any of the map books I have. And I kind of wanted to really focus on the whole country so you can kind of get it, and I can get a picture of what it looks like. So, that happens to really fit. I think I'm going to do this. It sort of fits. Oh, no, it won't fit because when I go to measure these books off, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. I'm really struggling. And this happens a lot to me. I get to like the middle point, which I'm not even to that point yet. And then I'm like, I'm over this project. I'm like, no, you can't be over this. Because I really, really want to do this justice. And I love my Ireland book, but I don't. It was just a little bit too much. And I was really trying to focus on drawing things, which if you're not an artist, don't make yourself draw stuff. Make yourself draw every day to practice getting better. I don't think. Although I could take any one of these pieces of paper, what I'm thinking, like this, put it on the back of that, and change the color of these pieces to red. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Okay, so we got that part figured out. And, oh, happy Memorial Day weekend here in the United States. My husband just left to go pick up our barbecue that the Boy Scouts were selling. I think he has to pick one up for his brother, too. Which is fine. So now I want to route our way, which I'm assuming we went like that. It was a pretty straight road. So we went up to these mountains. And that's kind of where I'm at. Struggling with the format. I know you're laughing / crying for me, Kurtie. But I'm really just really struggling. So before I commit to anything, I think I'm going to stop here for the day. I do need to print out Thursday. Here's how I set up my book. I don't know how, Kurtie and I discussed this briefly in chat. Not chat, but comments. How you can journal on a trip. I just set up my notes. And really and truly, this time I did a great job. Pat myself on the back. I set like day 1, Tuesday. Day 2, Wednesday. Day 3, which is where we are now. Or 4, I'm not sure. I think it's March 4th. Was our day 3, and that was Thursday. But I did the highlights of that day. Puppet show, welcome dinner. Museum of, and then that was landing, puppet show, and welcome dinner. In that order. Thanks for the tip on the time. Good girl. Keep me straight. So day 2, we did the Museum of Ethnology, which I'm really not including here. It was a great way to see how people lived in their in their homes, once we got up in the mountains, because a lot of it was mountain tribes and the mountain people. But it was kind of, I hate to say it like this, but it was kind of like a time waster, although it did introduce us to how many different indigenous tribes there are, which I think there's 56. How many different types of housing they have according to what they're growing, where they live, if they're on the side of a mountain, if they're in a valley, blah, 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 blah. That was a great introduction in that regard. Did we need to spend that much time there? Probably not. But anyhow, it was really cool. It was cool overall, and I'm glad we got to do it. So I did not include that on this trip. I just did the Confucius Museum of Literature. We had lunch. We did the craft shop, and it was hot, so we went back to the hotel. And every day I did that. And when I ran out of room, I started to wherever I was. I mean, I only wrote on one side. If I ran out of room, I was going to flip it over and write again on this side, because it's just easier to hold it like this and write. But it's just pencil notes. And blah, 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 blah. So here is my first day. 54 different indigenous groups. Ho Chi Minh died in 1969, not married, no children, educated outside Vietnam. 1858 to 1945, this was French-occupied country. And I might just do a couple little things and put them on here. So maybe I don't need to paint it red. I don't know. But that's kind of where we are. I'm going to stop right there and not go any farther. I had another piece of paper. Oh, here it is. Okay. So on the drive, which was 5 hours, saw so much countryside between here and there. And as we rose in elevation, the trees changed. We had cinnamon first, then lacquer, I think, trees. And Then you get up in the mountains and it's just rice paddies, because this was the southernmost tip of the Himalayas, which come across here and go into Tibet and stuff. And they have one growing season of rice there, which is, the rest of the country has 2, although down south has 3 because it's just warmer. And now not as mountainous, but just so neat to see the countryside like that. I love doing a good bus tour, whether it's traveling to your next destination or on those red line city buses that are in lots of cities anymore around the world. I love those things. You get a great quick view of the whole place where you are. You get a lot of history if you've got a good guide, and you can hop on, hop off. And those, nothing like that here, but that we still had that bus tour. And he stopped like every hour and a half or so. We stopped at some roadside rests, which were completely different than what we're used to here. And it was a great, great trip, even though it was 5 hours there and 5 hours back. But it was great. So I'm in a conundrum, but I think this is where I'm going for now. But I'm going to use that heat gun and cut these pages down too, which is I was going to have to do something like this anyhow, but I was just going to have, my stuff sandwiched in between something like that. And that way I could use the entire 4-inch surface and this would be in between. So pardon me while I struggle today, and I'll be back tomorrow. After struggle. P.S. Post struggle. P.S. Post struggle. Thanks for watching. Bye.